post-election, nothing is going to change. Whether there are elections in Myanmar, whether there are elections in Bangladesh, nothing is going to change because there is going to be a pushback, whether it's from ethnic armed organizations or other political groups.
These American preachers and all are teaching these guys how to use drones, how to use them as weapons, etc., etc.
The U.S. military today acknowledged that a drone strike in Kabul they initially said killed an ISIS. In fact, only civilians.
All our eyes are from China. Most of our intelligence guys are looking northwards. Of course, China is involved. Any crack in the wall, any fault line, they're going to exploit that. But the fact of the matter is, the US is not your friend.
Since we are sitting in Kashmir, there has been a lot of focus on the northern side and our, the immediate next neighbor. But I would like to draw the attention towards the eastern side, the northeast states, which we talk about. I would like to ask you, what are the challenges that is coming to India, and how do you see India navigating those challenges?
So I've been given very strict instructions to be very orderly. So I hope I am. First of all, I think it's great that we're sitting here in Kashmir and discussing the Northeast. I think you guys will remember you and me were one of the first people to discuss the Northeast many, many years ago on a podcast. Since then, we've seen major changes in how interested the Indian polity has become in the Northeast. I remember 25 years ago, nobody used to be interested in the Northeast. We treated it as a region. We didn't even know how many states existed in it. We've come a long way since that. And I think as we've come a long way, we've seen a lot of changes. As we've seen in infrastructure, we've seen changes in our understanding of the Northeast, the politics of the Northeast. But what we've also seen is our neighborhood change. And I think that is where a lot of our strategic challenges are going to come from. Whether it's Myanmar, whether it's Bangladesh, we have seen a change in their internal dynamics, the internal security situations, internal political situations. We already know the kind of forest borders, I'm so happy to be here with you, because you've seen the borders as much as I have. Their borders, they are unmanageable. We can say that we have, we man it or we fence it. We know very well that, we can't fence 1,643 kilometers of just the Myanmar border and all the other borders. So we are going to see these strategic challenges come forth. We have seen conflict become worse in Myanmar post the 2021 coup. There are over 200 ethnic armed organizations that are on ground in Myanmar, and none of them have a singular roadmap. They're interwarring ethnic armed organizations who have the Tatmadaw. In Bangladesh, we've seen an interim government that has made sweeping decisions. We've seen for the first time varsity elections being won by a radical group, by Jamaat. We know what that means for the elections to come. We've seen a lot of activity in the Chittagong Hill tracks. So these are all going to be strategic challenges to us, and make no bones about it that post-election, nothing is going to change. Whether there are elections in Myanmar, whether there are elections in Bangladesh, nothing is going to change because there is going to be a pushback, whether it's from ethnic armed organizations or other political groups. Apart from that, I think one of our big strategic challenges is going to be the international actors that are going to get, and we have seen already getting very active in our backyard. Whether it is China, Myanmar, whether it is them in Bangladesh, whether it's the Americans coming in, questions about strategic locations like the Lal Noida Air Base, a lot of training happening at CHT, the proposed humanitarian corridor. So all of this we have to see together. Finally, and I'm sure we'll discuss this further, but finally I'll tell you something, we don't have enough interest in the Northeast, we don't have enough excellence, scholarship in the Northeast, so we tend to look at it piecemeal. We have to not just look at the region, but we have to understand the very complex ethnic dynamics, but we also have to start looking at paper called Bangladesh, China and Myanmar altogether.
Sir, talking about strategic, and especially looking at China's role into it. But what we are seeing is an increased American hegemony which is happening in our neighborhood, especially in Myanmar as well. So putting all this together, how would you draw a picture of Northeast in the coming future, and what do you see the challenges of China? Is it from the Chinese side, or is it going to the Americans who are going to play the most spoilsport for us?
Thanks, Rana. Firstly, I agree with every word you said. And, I've just finished shooting again in Arunachal. I'm doing 3 books which are going to all heads of states. It's a large format thing. And after I had done the Northeast trilogy in 2009, 10, 11, that period, I had that time mapped the entire office. Now we were focused entirely on Arunachal. So we did 3 major trips. We went up. The first one was, of course, the Tawang Belt, etc. So I will not talk about that. The second one was a very interesting one because we went up the eastern corridor, the Roeka and the Durand Boulevard. There again, population is very sparse, so not much on the ground that had changed. But it's the central Arunachal trip. It was actually a shocker. I have no other word for it. We started from Likabali and we headed up towards Alom. This is basically Garo territory. Now in 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, you can make out, whether they are Dono Polo or whether they are Christianity. There was no signs of Christianity except for certain Mishi belts, which had taken to Christianity in Arunachal, and of course, Tirap Changlan, the Naga tribes, so the Vanchus and so there was a certain amount of Christianity. This time, I couldn't believe it. It was almost 60%. And then we went from Alo, we headed off and we went into the Bokar Mix, which is Marigaon. And I thought, chalo, yahan pe to, probably the pattern will change. But it didn't. It continued. And then this became very obvious after a while that in the last decade, there has been a huge influx of Christianity. I don't have a problem with any religion. You do what you have to do, that's fine. But when it is very systematically being built up, and in Tooting we were invited for a cup of tea by the local father there. And he had been, I knew him, I knew him from 2008. And I told him, I said, last time I met you, you were preaching from a bamboo hut. He said, yes, sir. But see on that hill, that church which is coming up. It was unbelievable. I mean, look the size of this auditorium, and so I asked him, I said, where's the money coming from? So first he gave me the standard answer. He says, local dak parde. मैंने कहा bullshit करना है तो करो यार. Why don't you just tell me what it is? You know what he said? Well, not he said Saudi Arabia. I said, what? He said Saudi Arabia Savax. Because they don't want to trace to any Zionist or any Christianity groups. Now, when this cookie Maiti problem happened, one of my closest friends, I had friends on both sides, but General Khonsom Himalaya, ever since he was a second lieutenant and joined 2 Rajputis from the same regiment as my dad, we've been extremely close, and it so happened that our paths kept crossing again and again and again. And he sent me he kept showing me videos and stuff like that, where these American preachers and all are teaching these guys how to use drones, how to use them as weapons, etc., etc. And let me tell you, it is very rampant. We tend to could almost say all our eyes are on China. Most of our intelligence guys are looking northwards. Of course, China is involved. China will, any crack in the wall, any fault line, they're going to exploit that. But I think we better wake up to the fact that the Americans are as much involved in this area. Ever since that Sitwith project came up and that entire thing, I mean, the entire ball game in the Northeast has changed. I had done an interview with Aarti Tikku about 2.5 years to 3 years ago in Chandigarh. And I had told her, we were sitting on the roof and it's on YouTube, and I told her then that, listen, 2.5 years, 3 years, the Americans and us, we'll be on the completely different side of the fence. And I said, sooner or later, we have very little choice but to action. RIC will start emerging as something or the other. And this was before Trump arrived and everything happened. Of course, we are going to keep blowing hot cold because we cannot also analyze and get completely on the wrong side of the Americans. But the fact of the matter is, the US is not your friend. We know the answer behind it. What's happened in Nepal, we know the answer behind it. To a great extent, what's happened in Ladakh, let me tell you, it will not come as a major surprise, the answer behind it. Ye hota rahega. And I half expect, I hope I'm wrong, trouble in Arunachal next. It is going to happen. And they are going to, they have already established that kind of, going through the youth, aag lagao, karo jo karna hai. And dekho kya hota hai. Now, again, we come back to what Rami also talked about that. Till about 10 years ago, 25 years ago, there is absolutely nothing on the Northeast. And I've been saying this on various forums that if we really want to do something, we have to, as India, as Indians and as India, we have to start addressing institutional integrity. Hamara institutional integrity is zero. We have no faith in the police, we have no faith in it. We could leave it. You try telling an FIR, a woman gets assaulted, anything happens, try telling an FIR. And Northeast in particular is like a giant ATM machine at the moment. Everybody is dipping into it. We know what they want. And we better get serious work on Northeast. Much more than what we already are.
Right, thank you. Well, coming back to you, when we talk about Myanmar, now it's a very interesting kind of a flux which is happening there. Why I say that is because the Americans don't want to dirty Kamal House, but then they want the Chinese to dirty their hands for that way, leave the goods out. Somewhere I see there's a collusion out of Indian situation for both Chinese and the Americans still now. Till Trump has really gone ahead and destroyed his relationship with the Chinese. Today he has gone ahead with 100% tariff more. How can we leverage this, you mean?
It is to me that you ask me such a wide range question and expect me to answer 5 minutes. I will disagree slightly with you. I don't think that the Americans are disinterested. I'll give you a small example. We expected the former IPS officer who became the chief minister of Gujarat, Lal Doma, to come and make sweeping changes. What did he do? He took, without permission, he went to the US and he made statements saying that we're a Christian state and we invite you to come and solve our problems. What did we do further? There was an MP, MLA who went to Myanmar, met with the Chin groups and said that we invite you to come and join us. It happened that was the time I was in Myanmar. And I was meeting both sides of the parties, whether it was the Tatmadaw, I was meeting them in Indian Hawk organizations as well. Both sides were furious because eventually that is an attack on their homeland. Now, amongst the Chin groups, there are over 32 splitters. CNF has about 16, CP has again about 16. Who came to mediate between them? Where was the mediation done? CMI from Helsinki came to mediate between them. Mediation was done in India. We talk about the Christian states who mentioned it rightly so. This is nothing new. This is where we use the larger picture, where we want to wipe everything out as a conspiracy theory. You look at the Chittagong Hiratraks. Chittagong Hiratraks have the same contiguous transnational ethnic tribes as Malabar does. They're called Popsos there. They're from the larger, Zo tribes, which is similar to the Mizos and the Cookies, even though they're not one tribe. There are different sub-tribes, but the larger family is the same. Now, if they want to, and if there is already a prolonged idea that has been in their head of a greater Zalinga, the land of freedom, who are we fully kicked that they followed it nuts? So Myanmar Americans have an interest in Myanmar. This is why when the Tarapon happened, and I spoke about this earlier, when the China said we're not going to be with critical earth minerals because 90% of the visible earth mineral lands in the US, it's mined from Myanmar. So when they said we're not going to do that, immediately there was the Pakistan deal that was struck of critical earth minerals. Humanitarian corridor was announced. And what was the humanitarian corridor? Why do you have a humanitarian corridor? Which Rohingya wants to go back to Myanmar? Nobody. Who are you going to give aid to? And if they can come in here via Bangladesh, they also get to come to China and they also get to come to India. So America and China are going to have stakeholding.